We're talking with Craig Bandoroff about the Denali stud consignment at the Keeneland September sale in the first two books, 6 horses. Let's first talk about hip number 4, which is a distorted humor. Tell us about him.
You know, he's a real strong colt, good size, a lot of quality, looks precocious. His brother Rule, you know, is running real well, has a couple updates since the catalog. Sells a little early, you know. I'm never in love with those early hip numbers, but you know, he's a nice colt, and we'd certainly expect him to attract good interest.
When you bring a consignment, you have your own favorites, but I guess it's somewhat like an art auction. You never know what's going to move a particular buyer, do you?
No, you don't. That's what's tricky. You know, I tell clients all the time, when we get here, it doesn't matter what I think, you know. So we all have our opinions, and generally, you know, they're right, but you know, you're not 100%. Sometimes they get on one that you didn't expect them to get on, and sometimes they don't fall in love with one that you thought they would.
Hip number 11 is an unbridled song out of Sluice, and you've brought other Sluice progeny to the sale.
They've sold very well. She's been a really good mare. She's a dam of a grade 1 stakes producer, Mushka. He's a big, strong, two-turn type horse, which is what everybody wants today. Everybody's got Derby in their mind, and, you know, he's a horse we're excited about.
Let's talk about hip number 76, medallion doro, and out of Ipitombe. And when we looked at her, she looked a little like her mom, but you said bigger.
She's a big, strong filly. I mean, you know, my expression for her would be, you know, that expression, if you don't like her, you don't like horses. I mean, she's just a beautiful filly with a lot of class, and, you know, she is bigger and stronger. Ipitombe is a very well-balanced medium size, and medaglia gave her leg and scope, and, you know, we'd put her in the special category.
Beyond the look test, what else stood out about her when you saw her in her early days?
You know, she just always had a lot of class and quality. I mean, they show it at a very early age, and, you know, when they have a demeanor where they handle everything and nothing really upsets them, you know, that's usually a sign of what's to come.
Hip number 94 is an unbridled song, a half to stardom bound. Tell us about that one.
You know, big, scopy, leggy filly. Again, two-turn type filly. She's been another one. You know, she was born and raised at the farm. That's kind of given us an indication of being, you know, very nice from the get-go, and she turned out that way. So, you know, we're expecting her to get a good reception.
Hip number 128 is medallion doro out of Temperance Gift. What stands out about that one?
You know, she's probably not as big and strong as the Ipitombe filly, but she's a good-sized filly, and, you know, she's a half-sister to a Grade 1 stakes winner out of a King Mambo mare. She probably has more King Mambo in her than medaglia. Very correct, and again, you know, we would hope she'd get a good reception on pedigree. You know, his fillies have done so well, you know, needless to say. There's only 7 fillies in book 1, so, you know, we think she should be popular.
Hip number 168 is a medaglia d'oro out of Fire the Groom. Medaglia d'oro, sire of Rachel Alexandra, so you know the success with fillies. What is it that he stamps his progeny with?
You know, he tends to put a lot of quality in his horses. You know, they tend to be correct. You don't have to be fooling with them too much. And, you know, I think they all have like an air of class about them. You know, this filly's the last in the line from Fire the Groom. She's been a great producer, producing Stravinsky, you know, amongst other stakes winners, and she was a great race mare herself. So, you know, there's a lot of pedigree there to go with a good physical.
Hip number 137 is a Smart Strike colt. What is it that stands out in your mind about him?
You know, lots of times, although the horse is a great stallion and a great racehorse stallion, they don't always, I don't think, hit their best as yearlings. You know, horses hit different stages, and I think for a Smart Strike, he's a very nice yearling. He's got quality. He's a really good mover, a very athletic type horse, and handles himself well. So I think people are really going to like the way his athleticism.
We talked about the difficulty of gauging what's going to move a particular buyer with a horse in your consignment in a given year. 2 years ago, you brought Animal Kingdom to this sale. What do you remember about him and what people were saying?
You know, Animal Kingdom was a very good-looking horse. He was probably bred a little off-color. You know, he's by Leroy DeSanimo, who was an unknown at that point, out of a German mare. You know, Barry Irwin, the breeder, you know, and myself, we really liked those German families. But, you know, I mean, it wasn't the normal type Unbridled Psalm, medallion, doro, something that the buyers are that familiar with. And, you know, he basically kind of slipped through the cracks, and that's why Barry, you know, put another partnership together, because we all liked him so much. But he's always, you know, if you look at him today, he's a very good-looking horse, and he was a very good-looking yearling.
What's next for him on the shelf now with a little injury?
You know, I got an update this week. He is back in training. He's not back in training, but he's been cleared to go back into training. I think he's going to go in the water therapy treadmill machine for 30 days and then start to jog. And from my understanding from Barry, you know, the long-term goal is the Dubai World Cup. And
he's already shown he pretty much likes any surface.
You know, he's won on poly, he's won on turf, and he won the big one on the dirt. So, you know, I think he's a horse that he doesn't have to take his surface with him.